There we are live on Suzilla.
Are we live on Suzilla? Good to see you, Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hey,
It's
Suzie.
Matt and Suzie here at Suzilla, at the Full Service Enrollment Center for the Washington Healthplanfinder.
Located in Wenatchee.
Located in Wenatchee, Suzie Health Solutions. That's us. And so we're here to, do our weekly or thereabouts podcast.
Yep.
And
it's Wednesday.
It's
Wednesday. Not Tuesday.
Or Thursday.
Yes.
I know. We just pulled one out of the air. Mostly because we had some time this morning.
Yeah, because we're rapidly running out of time because of, enrollment season.
That's right. It's going to be, we're probably going to end up doing a couple of these like on Saturday mornings or something.
Probably Sunday.
Possibly Sunday, yeah. Because we will be here once November hits. We're going to be here 7 days a week for a couple of months.
You might want to look at the schedule because I believe we're here 7 days. Yeah,
starting in October.
Yeah,
this weekend or next weekend.
Well, this weekend we got the Medicare Advantage seminar.
We do that every Saturday.
But I believe we've got. You'd have to check the calendar, but I believe it's scheduled out.
Okay.
All the weekends.
Okay, so if you need us on a weekend, we're here. Yeah. We're gonna do 1 to 5. I think 12 to 5, somewhere in there.
It's 1 to 5 is the official. If you people stumble across us.
Yes.
We had someone stumble across our phone number last night, trying to reach the Quincy office, and got us somehow.
Yeah, not sure how. We still followed up with them.
We followed up with them best we could.
Hopefully she's okay.
Yeah, it's
one of those things.
It's one of those things where we are remarkably easy to find.
Yeah, so that's always good, and you're always welcome to. I mean, yes, the calendar scheduled hours are from like 1 to 5. We will be here in the morning for you if you need a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning.
Now we're gonna talk about some underwriting now.
Yes, that is our topic for today. That's underwriting, not underwear. Underwriting.
Now underwriting.
Yes, define underwriting for our audience.
Underwriting is basically it's information allowing the insurance company to write a policy.
Correct.
Now health got radically changed with the Affordable Care Act about a decade ago.
Yes, it did. Alexa, mute.
Oh.
We should just turn her off when we're doing this.
Yeah, I know.
Every time we do this. But yes, it radically changed the underwriting process for individual health insurance.
Because prior to the Affordable Care Act, they could change it because of gender. They could change it by pre-existing conditions.
Right, changing meaning they could increase the rates. They could
or not write you at all.
Not write it at all. There's a lot they could be just dirty monsters.
So, yes, if you are answering questions about pre-existing conditions for a health policy, you're not going into a qualified health plan.
That's correct.
It could be a short-term plan. It could be what they call a Medicare plan.
They do ask for health questions for Medishares.
But it's not a qualified health plan. Nope. You don't have the protections that you do with those plans. Because they go through and get approval through the Office of the Insurance Commissioner. And in our state, they also get approved by the board of the Healthplanfinder.
Correct. Now, that's for individual. That's for not... Now, Medicare is a different story. We're on the under 65 stuff.
Under 65 stuff.
I want to be very clear on that.
And that's individual stuff.
Right.
Because group policies do have some little weird caveats out there.
Yeah, and then there's also some what are called grandfather group policies. They're old ones. I don't know if they can still underwrite those.
They're not supposed to be because they threw largely out the window. You sometimes see it with like self-insured plans. Yeah. But those are those are not.
They're very rare.
Not really. It depends. Association plans could do some shenanigans like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Not a big fan of association plans. They got kicked to the curb a while ago regarding their failure to pay.
Right.
So that's why
they were not doing their.
We don't have a tendency to do those plans for that reason.
They were not fulfilling their part of the contract.
Correct. Because insurance is all about contracts. So let's get into what about Medicares?
What about Medicares? I told my clients that Medicare, Medicare supplement plans, also commonly known as Medigap plans, are kind of the last bastion of pre-existing conditions.
Now, there's exception to that.
There are exceptions to that.
What's the first exception?
Well, the first exception is if you're in the guaranteed issue zone. When you first become eligible for Medicare, that first 7 months, that you have that initial enrollment period around your birthday. In Washington State, you have what's called guaranteed issue. Guaranteed issue is when the insurance companies, the Medigap plans, cannot turn you away regardless of your health.
Yes.
They are not allowed to underwrite you. You could roll in with a zillion tubes on a hospital bed and be the sickest dog on the block, and they cannot turn you down. If you're outside of that initial enrollment period, there's only a couple very small reasons why you might escape the underwriting.
Isn't that like kidney disease, end-stage renal?
End-stage renal disease is actually one thing that's still underwriting. You're asking about a health question. End-stage renal disease will put you into a very specific health insurance plan that is totally, it's a whole state and federal thing.
Yeah, I believe that was Nixon.
I think so.
Play that role.
End-stage renal disease is when you're on dialysis and may or may not need a kidney transplant.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's because it's insanely ridiculous.
It's an underwriting question.
It is an underwriting question. And up until last year, that was the only underwriting question that Medicare Advantage plans were allowed to ask.
Oh, so they've added some?
They dropped it. They're not allowed to ask any underwriting questions anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's Medicare Advantage plans, which are different than Medigap plans. Now, I happened to grab one of my Medigap plans, my Medicare supplement plans, just to give you an idea of what kind of questions they do ask. I'm not going to read them all because it's a pretty good sized list, but it's in the application. You've got a section.
And that's the key. It's what are they asking you during the application? That is the lightning rod of where you should throw red flags of doing that. Hey, they're not concerned about how you're using it. They're concerned about on what program they're going to put you in.
Well,
we ask, for example, during after someone has enrolled in healthcare,
how do you use your health insurance?
Yeah, do you want? Let's look up the prescriptions to make sure what the copays are. And that's an entirely different. Those are not underwriting questions. Those are usage questions.
Right. Now, these are underwriting questions because they're determining whether or not they want to insure you in the first place.
Yes.
These are, it says, all right, so this is, okay. Answer this health question if your acceptance is not guaranteed. Okay. And that's your kidney problem, right? And that's when they'll actually do, if you answer yes to, if you have kidney problems, then they'll do a follow-up. That's not a guaranteed disqualifier. It says, number 5, answer these eligibility health questions only if your acceptance is not guaranteed in section 3. All right. And it's a bunch of different questions. And if you answer these yes to any of these questions, straight up denial of coverage. Okay. They're not even going to look at you. And here's the trick thing. It's not just, do you currently have it? It's, have you been advised to treat? Or have you been prescribed medication for? And mostly it has to do with being inpatient admitted for, within the last 90 days. Okay. If you're living in a nursing facility, forget it. Just forget if you're already in a nursing home.
That's actually a question on the application for the Healthplanfinder.
That's because they're screening for long-term care. Though. That's different. This is, we're not going to insure you if you're in a nursing home. They go back about 2 years for the initial questions, and they ask if you've had some things that have not been done, things like joint replacements, cancer surgeries, cancer, joints, organs, heart and vascular, a lot of coronary stuff, a lot of kidney stuff, a lot of complicated diabetes, a lot of the pulmonary stuff, your lungs, and the different insurance plans have different underwriting rules. This particular one is mostly focused on your vascular system, your heart and your veins and things like that. Whereas other plans have a greater emphasis on your lungs, your COPD, the breathing, and the diabetes and things like that. This one, it's diabetes, but only if you have circulation problems or retinopathy. Others are if you take more than 50 units of insulin a day. So it does vary, but that's a good example of underwriting.
Yes.
And if you answer yes to any of these questions, they're going to say, no thanks.
So yeah, that's...
And then what they do is if you say no or not sure, they're going to start the follow-up questions with your providers. And they do. That's their job.
Well, that brings up a really important point. What happens if you lie?
Oh, yeah, they catch you.
There are multiple ways that insurance companies have. First of all, we're gonna tell you one of the biggest secrets of the industry that's not so secret, and that is the Medical Information Bureau.
Yep, the MIBs, not the Men in Black,
but the Medical Information Bureau. And in the age of big information, it is huge. It started years ago, and they collect data, basically health data on you.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a giant clearinghouse for the medical data for United States residents.
Yep, life policies, health policies,
pharmacy stuff, doctor notes.
Yeah, it is massive on the information they collect.
And now, can't you get access to your file from them through the Freedom of Information or some other form? You should be able to get access to that.
It's not a government body.
Oh, well, I suspect.
I believe that you can request it. I haven't looked recently. It's one of those spooky information gathering places.
Yeah, I always got this visual of it. It's just big square box. For
an insurance company to have access to, they have to basically pay into it.
Yep.
They help fund it.
Yep.
And so it's
also extremely secure and keeps your information very safe. So that's good.
Yes, and again, it's privately held.
Oh yeah.
And that's a key thing. It's privately held. It's not a government body.
I would bet if you did one of those genetic testing kits, your information goes there.
Oh yeah. It depends on what caveats. I've talked about those things for years. It's like the reason I don't get those is because I really don't want that information ever to be shared.
Yeah, because it could go wrong.
Because it can go very...
They're fun, but they're kind of cool, and you can learn things. But you're also letting a third party know about it.
Possibly. It depends on the disclosure of information that you're granting to those companies. And
you've got to read those carefully because you could be granting disclosure to all kinds of people without paying attention, without noticing it. It's like it's like the user agreement on your iPhone. Like no one ever reads those, but you probably should.
Yes. One of the things out there are particularly for wearable smart devices.
Like I watches, like the Apple watches.
Yeah, particularly the ones that are able to track your biometrics.
Oh, yeah.
On where that data is going.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because they go into centralized pools and stuff. It's really fascinating to get into the geekery of held information. Yeah. You should really, it's one of the things. Keep your information close because you really don't want everyone to have it.
Right. So, but what we're talking about is this information that you may not be keeping close without even realizing it can go to places like the Medical Information Bureau, and the insurance companies can use it to decide if they want to insure you or not.
Correct.
And you can see how important it was for the Affordable Care Act to make that
not an
issue.
It's huge because I know folks out there that proudly, they had medical bills over $2 million. And that is a huge issue. That those lifetime caps got removed.
Well, what happened is what would happen is small children. You get a 5-year-old with leukemia, they hit their lifetime cap and they'll never be able to get health insurance again for the rest of their lives.
Actually, the one
that was happening.
Yeah, I know that was happening. My favorite example for that was the preemie.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you could have a baby that was born prematurely, rack up,
a couple
doesn't take much to rack up $1 million plus, and be and face with a lifetime ban. There was companies like that, and it wasn't always $1 million. Mm-hmm. Some of those companies were out there at 100,000.
Yeah, and you can never insure with them again.
Correct. So those are basic underwriting questions. So yeah, if you're starting to see these questions come up that are not whether or not you're a smoker, what your gender was, what your gender is.
Yeah. Well, the Affordable Care Act goes with gender assigned at birth these days.
Correct. So, however, we hear about the different underwriting for autos, for example.
Yes, there's underwriting for cars and things like that.
Now, this is a big one in Washington State, because June 20th, everything changed for your property insurers. They could not attach your credit history information.
Correct.
So, as people get their renewals from that time period, they're going to see these strange increases or decreases if they had a company that was attaching that information and weighing, factoring that. So if you saw an increase, or if it just kind of stayed the same, good time to shop for your property insurance. Mm-hmm. And that's because of those hidden underwriting questions held by a third party.
Yep.
That credit history, and that goes into those applications. Long-term care policies.
Yep, they're definitely underwritten.
Oh yes.
Oh, heavily underwritten. They ask everything.
Every time, and it's one of those things. Insurance is not a 7-Eleven Slurpee machine.
No, it really isn't.
You just can't roll up and say, "Oh, I'll have $1 million of coverage," and pull a lever and have it instant.
No, it's not magic.
We do have a pretty
machine like that.
What?
I like that Slurpee machine.
Well,
sometimes the Slurpee machine's not working though.
Sometimes it's not working. It's an ice cream machine at McDonald's.
I've experienced a sloppy Slurpee.
So yeah, Alexa mute. We saw that really play into effect with the long-term care in Washington State.
Yeah, the new long-term care tax is going to take effect on January 1st. We've talked about this last week.
Yeah, we've talked about it a couple times.
You're welcome to go back and listen to it. But what it boils down to is they're creating a pool for long-term care for everybody. Mostly everybody.
It's if you are a paid employee, this is a W-2 employee, or you opt into it, it's going to be a tax of less than 2 cents on the dollar. So we're not talking a huge cent. It's a payroll tax.
It is. It's payroll tax. It's not a huge tax. It's not a huge benefit in the long run, but it will help. So, but that also is. I'm sorry.
Playing that huge one is a real faux pas, because everyone can purchase multiple policies.
Yes, you can always add on to this.
And the minute someone says, "Oh, it's not a huge benefit," it's like, "Oh, you can have multiple policies. There's nothing against that."
There's no law saying you can't have more than one. This is a launching point. It's designed to help buffer the whole situation. It's not designed to replace a long-term care policy. But, however, this is also not underwritten.
Correct.
So you can get a long-term care policy without having to answer the health questions because you've paid into this pool. So that's something that maybe if you were not able to get a long-term care policy at all, at least gives you that policy.
You have an opportunity.
You have an opportunity to have this policy. And that's not a bad thing.
That's actually a very good thing.
It is a very good thing. Because it's amazing how fast they'll look at you. All you have to do is look askance at the thing, or have one visit to the doctor or one prescription, and suddenly kapow, they won't take you on. And they're very, I guess, discriminating about it. Well, and in the sense that they're careful.
The big nasty secret in the industry that most people don't talk about is the mental health aspect.
Yeah, that will
for life insurance.
That's a big thing for them.
So yeah, it's one of those things you might have to wait to get a guarantee issue policy when you're older if you didn't get it early. So that is a massive component that not a lot of people talk about.
Yeah, life insurance is one of those things you gotta. They age rate, they health rate, they look at your mental health statuses. If you had a bad patch in your 20s, they don't care. If you're 70,
you're a felon.
Oh, forget it if you're a felon.
Yeah, DUIs. These
alcoholism. Seriously, that's an underwriting question in some of these.
Scuba diver, taxi driver,
airplane pilot.
Pilot your own plane. These are things that weed out insurance policies
because they're dangerous activities.
Yeah, when you start to get into property, they'll ask about claims.
Have you had claims? Are you prone to burning down your house?
Actually, the big one is, from what I've seen in the industry, the ones that they look at is the fire rating. If you're in a wildfire zone, age of roof.
Roofs are really important for some reason. Now, bear in mind, I do not have a property license. I know very, very little about this. Most of what I've learned has been gleaning from other people who in the industry do the property stuff. So I can't. I have no authority to speak about this.
So, yeah, age of roof. Age of roof has to deal with water damage and the famed black mold of the 80s.
Oh yeah, that's still a thing though.
So yeah, but that they moved that from an actual claim over to that's a maintenance issue.
Oh,
that's how a lot of those companies
I did not know they
will shuffle things off to maintenance issue.
Yeah, so it's your fault if there's black mold, is what you're saying.
Termite infestation. If the squirrels got on and gnawed on your wires, you should have been taking care of the squirrels. So yeah, there are sneaky little things like that insurance companies do, and then there's ways around the insurance companies from doing sneaky little tricks. Your best line of defense is having an agent that'll go to bat for you.
Yes, because you say, well, yes, the roof is 20 years old, but it's concrete. Or something.
Well, no, they do materials. It's when the insurance companies, some of the major ones will have inspection teams.
Well, sometimes they just get photographs though and go by what they think they see.
Yeah, but if your photographs, there's so much sag you can tell where the rafters are, you've got a problem with your roof.
However, if you also get a picture that the underwriter turns it down because they think they see a crack, but it turns out it was just a spider web. That's where your agent comes in.
I've had underwriters roll in and for commercial properties and say, "Hey, this window doesn't have an alarm." And when we took pictures, there was no windows on the building.
Exactly.
So yeah, sometimes they'll get it wrong, and that's why you have your agent be able to do the, hey, wait a minute, this is wrong. This is why, and you have documented reasons.
You have a team that works for you.
Yeah, and that is huge.
See, and that's what you're a good insurance agent, insurance broker will do is work for you on your behalf to fight with the insurance company if need be.
Well, yeah, because they're just by design. We are the go between the consumer and the company.
Correct.
We've got I can beat up the insurance commissioner and folks for not providing, empowering the agents more.
Yeah.
Because they really set the difference between having an adequate insurance and having good insurance.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Because if you're running around saying, "Oh, hey, I got straight from the company," you've got adequate insurance.
Yeah.
you don't have that additional customer service. You don't have someone local.
Yeah, explaining the policies.
And if something goes sideways, can assist.
Exactly. Walking you through the paperwork, walking you through the requirements, saying, hey, emailing you this, email it back to me and I'll take care of it for you. That kind of stuff.
Or, saying, hey, you know what? This company has got reciprocity agreements, and you can use it in these additional states.
Right, exactly.
That is a huge one. Or, no, I'm sorry, because this is a Cascade Care plan, you've got neck down networks. There is a huge thing going on with, we saw it last year play out with one of the local Cascade Care plans. And it was a real disservice to the consumers.
It was.
And we're really seeing it this year.
The Cascade Care Select is a heavily neck down network. I think I got that right. They've got Cascade Care and Cascade Care Select.
It's a Cascade Care Select. It's the public option. And because you've got a board that does not understand insurance, you've got advisors to the actual Healthplanfinder saying, hey, we need to have these universal protections, and they're not advocating for that. They're advocating for the company. That's where you start to see programs go sideways.
Yeah, and as a consumer, you need to, it's a good thing to talk to your Office of the Insurance Commissioner when you see things that you...
Because they're incredibly powerful and useful.
Yeah, and they're, we've had some really good luck with them supporting the consumer. So we don't hesitate to, throw you at them and say, hey, go complain. We'll help you make a complaint or make a grievance or whatever it takes. And that's one of the things as an American citizen when it comes to health insurance and Medicare is you have the right to file a complaint or a grievance or whatever it takes. Medicare actually has a process for grievances. I tell my clients, my Medicare clients that yes, you have, as an American on Medicare, you have the right to file a grievance with Medicare. It is the nuclear option. It is, they don't want you to, the insurance companies don't want you to do that. They want you to use their customer service and try and solve it that way. Because if they get if Medicare gets involved, they might not get a resolution that they like.
Well, that is one thing we see that with on the healthcare side of things as well. Because we have a large number of consumers that we work with, and we've grown phenomenally over the last couple of years.
I'm happy to do so.
We can see trends really quick.
Yeah, we do see.
We can see, oh, well, they double billed, and they're not paying it back in a timely fashion. And if we get one or two, and it's like by the time the second and third are rolling around, it's like, okay, yeah, we need to go straight to the Office of the Insurance Commissioner because they're not making it. And that's the point where we
throw down the hammer.
We throw down the hammer, and we throw it down quick so the consumer gets a quick resolution. Sometimes we can work out simple things, but there's protections written in the law, and insurance is such a law-based product. I can't stress that enough. It is a law-based product. We are looking at, moving the age of Medicare from 65 to 60. So that's going to impact consumers greatly.
Oh my gosh. It's just going to be tremendous differences.
And that is that whole Build Better Act that is in Congress that's being fought over. So,
and it's a big fight.
It is a big fight, and it's one that it makes sense because it's going to protect a lot of consumers. That's where we're focused at. It's like, I don't care where you lie politically. If you're my customer, I care about you and you getting stuff.
Yep.
and improve services, and having dental and hearing aid on Medicare is huge.
And they are working on that. That's part of this infrastructure bill. It's what, $4 trillion infrastructure bill?
3.4.
Okay. So you have a lot of money infrastructure.
It's a lot of money, but they put in ways to pay for it.
Yes.
And
it's not just here. There it is.
It's no, here you've been paying in a lot. You're going to have some services.
No, it's this is how it's all going to work out. And there's a fight. A fight will continue. It will always be a fight because there's some people don't want the money going this way. Some people don't want money going that way. And that's a whole other conversation. That is an entire podcast in itself.
Yeah, we might have to get into this as we get closer into November elections.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is underwriting. The base thing. If you're in your guaranteed issue, you're with Medicare, very minimal underwriting.
Yeah.
If you're doing a healthcare plan, very minimal questions. Outside of that, you're gonna get some questions asked.
That's correct.
We had someone that was, I don't want to give you that information, and it's like, well, I'm sorry, I can't quote you.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a certain point where, I'm sorry, I can't quote you. So yeah, everyone, questions are part of the game. If you're not comfortable having questions asked of you, you're talking to the wrong person.
You are. You really are.
If you maybe it'll be better if you're in person. We do a lot of in person. We do a lot of teleconference over the phones.
And of course, everything that goes through our office is completely confidential.
It's crazy confidential. And I do mean that because, I shred junk mail. That's it's like, yeah, someone wants to go through our trash. They're going to get my shredded, pizza menus, because that's the level of information that we shred out.
It gets shredded is what it boils down to.
Yeah, and then everything, Suzie is so secure when it comes to stuff that she's got a notepad that's erasable.
It is. It's super cool.
We'll do a video of it.
It is super cool.
So everyone, hey, have a great day. Yes, there's questions. The last one we should do is the COVID question. No, a health insurance company will not charge more if you are unvaccinated.
Correct.
That is part of the Affordable Care Act. They're not authorized to do that. However, on those group plans, they are able to do a surcharge. A good example of that is Delta Airlines. They're doing a surcharge of $200 per month for an unvaccinated person.
There you go.
So, hey, have a great day.
Bye.
That's the basics of underwriting.
Thanks for joining, Suzie. Bye.
Bye.